What are you guys showing off right now? What's hot on the market from you guys?
We have our Pocket Cinema Camera 6K Pro, and that has the articulating screen and has the ability to add the viewfinder on top. It also has an HDMI out, so you can use it with our switchers and be able to get camera control. So you use it as a live switcher or shoot cinematography work with it too.
If you have the 6K Pro, why did we need a Generation 2 of the 6K?
Really, the big difference is that the 6K Pro has the ND filters built in, but a lot of customers don't need that, but they wanted the articulating screen and the ability to add a viewfinder to it. So we were able to update it and get it out there at the same price as before, and that's kind of how we relaunched that, and it's done very well.
Hello and welcome to Behind the Rabbit Reviews. I'm Yasin Godbey. I'm a filmmaker and content creator based in New York City. Today we're taking a look back at the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 6K Pro. Before we get into this camera, Blackmagic Design is a sponsor of No Rest for the Weekend, our entertainment vodcast, but this video is not sponsored. The 6K Pro was released in 2021 as an update to the Pocket Cinema Camera 6K. As Bob mentioned, the biggest upgrades were the addition of the ND filters, the tilt screen, and the optional electronic viewfinder. I've owned the 6K Pro since 2024, and I wanted to just talk about my setup as well as some of my experience with the camera. The 6K Pro is chunky. It's like a DSLR on steroids. There's a big lens turret that was needed to accommodate the built-in ND filters. The grip is substantial, but it's not really a great camera to go handheld with. People rig out these cameras in a multitude of ways. I shopped around for a bit before I decided on the small rig cage and top handle. The cage makes it a lot easier to go handheld, and it works better with the base plate on the tripod. Compared to the original Pocket cameras, the tilt screen is a huge improvement. It's not fully articulating, but it does tilt, and it is pretty bright. So far, I haven't had any issues seeing it in bright sunlight. The monitor has built-in functions like focus peaking and false color. I didn't think I would use false color all that much, but now I use it all the time. It's really the best way to expose for the camera. One of the best things about the 6K Pro is the menu system. It's incredibly user-friendly, all the functions are accessible through the touchscreen, everything is super straightforward, and I've had no trouble learning the camera. I wish other cameras were this easy to use. The 6K Pro shoots at a wide array of frame rates and resolutions, up to 6K in Blackmagic RAW, 4K DCI, UHD, and HD in ProRes. It can shoot up to 120 frames per second, but only when using the 2.8K sensor area. It's a little bit tricky. For instance, at first I thought you couldn't shoot 60 frames per second while shooting in HD ProRes, but you can, just not using the full 6K sensor. You have to go down to 5.3K. Since I use Final Cut Pro, I've been shooting in HD ProRes, and it's incredibly useful. I can import footage without having to transcode, and for most of my content creation work, HD ProRes is fine, but I will use 4K if need be. The camera will shoot on CFast and SD cards. You'll need faster cards if you want to shoot in the higher resolutions. You can use an external SSD, which I found works really well. You can record right to the drive and use the same drive for editing. It's incredibly convenient. One of the reasons I went with the small rig cage is because it's got a little compartment just for SSDs. The camera has 3 settings for dynamic range: video, extended video, and film. It also has built-in LUTs, which you can use as a preview, or you can bake the LUT into the image. We shot some tests with the LUT baked in, and I found that you really can't do much to the color. The film profile is the flattest, and it seems to yield the best results when color correcting it. The 6K Pro has a built-in set of ND filters that will allow you to go up to 6 stops of ND. Because it has a dual base ISO of 400 and 3200, it really helps to have the NDs built in. After using this camera for a while, I have to say I really miss the built-in ND filters when I don't have them. This camera will shoot with either shutter speed or shutter angle. I found it incredibly easy just to set the shutter angle to 180 degrees and not have to worry about changing the speed when I change frame rates. The 6K Pro has an autofocus assist feature, but not continuous autofocus. For the most part, this is a manual focus camera. It does have focus peaking, which works really well, and the large screen does allow you to see the focus clearly. There is no image stabilization built into the 6K Pro. I've been using my Canon 24-105 f4, which does have built-in IS. It helps to support the camera with a tripod, a monopod, a gimbal, even a cage with a top handle really helps. In addition to the onboard camera mics, the 6K Pro has a 3.5mm mic input, as well as a headphone jack and 2 mini XLR ports. I use the Condor Blue XLR to mini XLR adapted cables, and so far they've worked well. Recently, we recorded several episodes using 2 SM58s plugged directly into the camera, and I have to say, it sounded great. Here's a sound sample.
The bartender there is El Boticario. And he's the guy who makes all the drinks, but he also collects dreams. And it opens with him and his mute girlfriend who is speaking in a voiceover, but, not moving her lips. She's mute. But yeah, we can hear her. It's little things like that. It's a lot of that. It's a lot of...
Wait a minute, what the hell is this movie about? That sounds so weird.
It's about everything.
There are multiple ways to power this camera. Another big upgrade from the original 6K was going from the Canon LPE6 battery to the NP570. In my experience, the Blackmagic batteries tend to last the longest, but there are other off-brand batteries that work as well. The Blackmagic batteries retail for around $55. I was able to find these K-Star batteries based on a YouTube recommendation, and I could get a pack of 4 of them for around $50. I also own the extended battery grip, which works really well. You can use up to 3 batteries at once, and 2 batteries in the grip charge the main battery in the camera, so you never have to remove the grip to change batteries. So who's this camera for? The more I use this camera, the more I like it. Once you figure out the frame rate and resolution settings, it's all pretty intuitive. The body shape is a bit awkward, but the cage and the top handle make it a lot easier to use. The biggest plus of the 6K Pro, along with the ease of use, has got to be the image quality. The camera can be used for a wide variety of projects. The word cinema is in the name, and that's really what it's meant for. It's meant for projects that require high quality images and usually in an environment where you have control. You can run and gun with this camera, but I wouldn't use it for things like events. For instance, we do a lot of red carpet work. I don't think it's great for that because it doesn't have the autofocus, but for when you're doing studio work or when you want to film movies, for this price point, the results are incredible. It's definitely still a find and still worth it in 2025. Thanks for watching, and please be sure to like and subscribe for more content.
This is the BTRP Media Network.